Good day, folks. NBWildman back here again with you. On today's episode, I'm going to show you a quick and easy setup for how to catch muskrats, especially on an old beaver dam. So I'm in an area here that I trapped years ago. It's a little brook, flows between two pieces of pasture. And so I've got about a 500-yard long field up one side and about a 300-yard up the other. And then it fades into some hardwoods here on my right-hand side. I've got permission from the landowner, of course, which is always important to have if you're going to do any amount of trapping and get to know an area real well. So I trapped the beavers off this brook, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. There wasn't a lot. I think it was a colony of maybe 4, and the farmer wanted them gone. So just a quick in and out to trap the beavers. But I thought about taking some more rats this year and maybe some more mink, and so I've got some videos on how to take more mink. If you haven't yet seen those videos on the NBWildman channel, go ahead, check those out. I'll put a link up here in the corner. You can see those videos after you're done watching this one, I hope. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take a look at the old beaver dam that I trapped and see if there's any good locations for a blind set for muskrat and the occasional mink. So we'll do that. If you haven't yet subscribed to the NBWildman channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And turn on that bell so that you get notified when we upload new content. Wouldn't want you to miss any videos. As always, we're looking for feedback, questions, comments, whatever you got. Go ahead and leave those down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So I'm going to walk you through what I look for when it comes to setting up muskrat sets in an old beaver dam. And we're going to do that next. And it's just going to take a few minutes, and I hope it's a quick and easy set that you can use on your line. So here we go. We're coming up the brook, and I just stepped in off the field a little bit. And we're at the old beaver dam, and I mean, this is old, right? So this beaver dam had been used more than once, and then it was freshened up a few years ago by some beavers, and that's when I trapped them out. But if you can see here, I'll step up on the main dam, and what you can see is that the water level would have been kind of up here during when I trapped it. And you can see how low it is, and you're down to that really black mucky stuff that happens in the woods after beavers have been in a place. And used it for a dam. So you can see lots of greenery coming up, and what you can see is that there are main troughs of water that will flow and these would have been the main travel routes for beaver when they used this when they were living here. So you'll notice that if you ever come across one of these, there's some main parts that are deeper than others, and that's where the water will tend to flow, and the rest of it turns into that black mud. And it is a hotbed. You can see I'm not sure if you can see these or not, but this is a hotbed for animals. Lots of little critters live in this stuff, and you can see that there are already, stepped in the mud a lot there. If you look out here, you can see there's already, that looks like raccoon tracks, that looks like coyote tracks, set of mink tracks up the brook right there. And then you got these deep caverns of water that flow around. What I'm looking for is a pinch point, and there's usually more than one. And if there is more than one, I'll trap them all. I'll put a conibear trap in each one. But I'm looking for a pinch point where one of these deep holes would have gone up over a log or a secondary beaver dam or something that will allow me just the right distance for a 160 conibear. Now, I do use a 160 conibear, and I use those. They're a little overkill for muskrat, and they're a little overkill for mink. But what I don't want to miss is any incidentals that might be coming up and down this brook. I've already seen some raccoon tracks, and on occasion, especially in the wintertime, get a little snow on, otter will travel up and down this same brook. So what I don't want to miss those if I get a chance. So I use a 160. It's a double spring conibear trap about the size of a 110. It's just got the 2 springs, a little bit bigger. And it's legal for all of the sets that I'm going to make, which is important. And it is also big enough, if I chain it right and stake it right, it's also big enough that if I happen to get an otter or I happen to get a raccoon poking around, that I'm going to catch those and I'm going to hold those. So that's good. I think I found the point that I'm looking for. It's right over here on my left. I'll show it to you now. So I just step over this tree right here. And what we've got is we've got a deeper part of the channel. This is one of the main channels right here of the brook that came down into the beaver dam. There's 2 that look just like this, but right on the other side, this tree right here, this is what I'm looking for, okay? So this is just a little pinch point where there was an old stump here, and a new clump of trees have grown up here, and this has created a natural flow up and over And you can even see where it's smoothed down a little bit right in here. If I move that big leaf out of the way. It's even smoothed down where you can see that game has been traveling up over this spot. And this is just the perfect distance, the perfect size for a 160 conibear. So this is my spot. I'll show you how to set it up. It's real quick and easy from this point on, and hopefully we'll get some game out of here. Okay, so I just grabbed the gear I needed off the bike, and what I brought back in with me, of course, is my trap and 3 of my welded 1/2-inch rebar T-stakes. So got my 160. I often leave these, right? I set up a bunch of these at night before I'm going to go out and put some new traps out, just so I don't have to take the time in the field to set each of the springs, you know. I do have a pair of setters with me if I need them, but for these small ones, it's usually not necessary. So I got my 160, and I got 3 of my T-bar stakes, and I've got my little hatchet. That's all I grabbed off the bike. That's all you really need to set this up. Okay, so this is real simple. The only thing you want to be careful of is you really don't want to mess this area up too much, especially where it's already been traveled. So if you knock fresh branches down here, then you're going to want to move those. And if you can avoid stepping right kind of in the trail, that's important. But other than that, this is real quick and real easy. So I'm going to set this, and I set this with obviously with the dog on the top, and I use the middle trigger space. I don't know why that is. I'm sure there's a perfectly professional reason, and someone will definitely comment down below on what those little trigger spaces mean. I've always used the middle one, and to be honest with you, the only reason is because that's what my grampy told me to do when he taught me all about trapping, or as much as he knew. Okay, so this is going to sit tucked right down in here. And all I'm going to want to do is set it so that if I can position the springs just a little bit angled down so that the bottom of the trap is not actually resting on the ground. I'd like to have it up just a tiny, tiny bit. And the only reason I do that is I don't want any interference when the trap snaps. I don't want to drag across the ground if I can help it. So once it's in place, grab a T-bar stake, run it down through the spring, and I'm going to tap that in. Now this one went in real easy, nice and tight. So I may only get away with the one there, but I think I will put the second one in just because, like I say, if you do get anything bigger, it comes through, you want them to go in there and not bump the trap and knock it over. And my last process here is I take my 3rd stake, and like I said, just in case I get something big that I want to keep, that this trap doesn't kill instantly, I'll grab my trap chain and I'll really bed this one down well. I'll really drive this stake into the bottom. I get a big otter or a big raccoon. There we go, quick and easy. In just a few minutes after I've located the right spot, this is set and done. And this is a set that will take fur. This set will take muskrats, this set will take mink, this set will take raccoon, this set will take otter, the occasional one that comes down through, and you'll be skinning out of these sets all the time. Very well concealed. It's hidden, right? No passerbys, obviously, walking out in that field edge or even hardly walking up this brook would notice this set. So this is a set that you can make on public ground, and you can definitely make it on private ground that you have permission, things like that. It's a quick and easy setup. Use a 160 and you'll get all the fur that travels down this route and then hops up over that little ledge. So again, you know, in an area like this, an old beaver dam that was a little smaller, just one here nestled in the woods, I might make 3 or 4 of these sets if I could find the right locations. And if I can't find the right locations, I don't force it. I don't put in a bunch of steel where I don't need it, because you're going to funnel most of your fur right through these types of sets. Anyway, I hope this helps you out. And until next time, happy hunting from the NBWildman channel.